everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And today we're taking a look at 3 abstract strategy games. They have some sort of theme sometimes.
They all do have a theme, but they're clearly abstract games.
Sure. In fact, one of them is old. Really old.
Really, really like Viking old.
We played it in 2024. We're way behind the curve on this one.
I know. Yeah, no Cult of the New for us, thank you.
These are all 2-player games. We'll take a look at them one by one. Here we go. First we got Hi, My, Kai. Or Himiki, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
I say Himiki, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so the theme of this one, and of the 3 we're looking at today, this is by far the prettiest.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And it's the most lavish production, too, I would say.
Yeah, you're wizards who have been corrupted and blah, blah, blah. It's wood versus fire versus water.
Yeah.
Which is better than paper, rock, scissors, I suppose.
Not really. It's the same. It's the exact same, in fact.
Why? It's easier to understand.
Okay.
How does paper beat rock? I still don't know.
It covers it, and that's evil to the rock.
All right, well, show us how to play it.
All right. In Himiki here, one player is going to be playing the white pieces, the other the black pieces, and you are going to be attempting to be the first to get to 5 victory points, which you track right here. There's also a 2 versus 2 mode, as well as an advanced mode. I'll barely be touching on those. The main mode is the introductory mode I'm going to be showing you here. So the players take turns putting out their pieces on these 3 spaces, with the first player placing out one of them however they want to, the other player then doing 2, then the first player once again will do 2, and then that player will do 1 more, like so. There's 1 piece left in reserve because it's not used for 1 versus 1. And then we start the game. So on your turn, you are going to either rotate pieces, and they stay with the same face facing up, but you rotate them like so, or you can tip pieces, meaning you take the whole thing and you topple it so that it shows a new face. In this game, you are attempting to place your piece next to an opponent's piece so that you beat them. And it's a rock, paper, scissors style combination in which water puts out fire, fire burns wood, wood floats on water. So that's the rock, paper, scissors. If on my turn then, let's say this player here on their turn, they topple this, and they placed their piece next to me, wood floats on water, they get 1 victory point, and they would track it right here on the die. Once they've done that, then we keep going. If ever they put a piece next to it that would be a losing proposition, they do not give me a point. It has to be the active player who earns a point. And if it's ever a match, they do this, then they get to go again immediately. If it's a push, and they might do this, let's say, or whatever they want to, all right? The other way you can earn victory points in this game is, if on your turn, let's say it's my turn right now, if I do that and I create 4 of a kind anywhere on the board, then I'm going to earn this piece right here, which is also 1 victory point, though this one is not a permanent victory point. If my opponent manages to do this later on, they'll take it away from me. So this is 1, and there's 1 for wood, and there's 1 for red as well. So that's the basic game. Like I said, make it to 5 victory points and you win. Besides that, there's the advanced mode with these chaos tiles in which you shuffle all these. Each player is going to get 3, and they do all sorts of things. Let you take basically special abilities in the game, manipulate things, pull off unexpected things. You get to trigger one of these every time you level up to a brown number, which you'll see on the dice is when you get your 2nd point, when you get your 3rd, and when you get your 4th points. You have 3 of these, like I said, randomly, which you put right here, and then you get to activate 1 of those every time you make those victory points. When you get to 5, well, you just win the game. So there you go. That's the way that Himiki works.
This one, for some reason, so one of the things I love about this game is I take the lid off, we're ready to play.
No, that's cool. I agree. That's really neat. Actually, a couple of the games do that where you play in the box, but the next one we'll be talking about, you have to remove that top not the lid, but like where the surface you play on, the pieces are under, and you put that top back in the box, is kind of meaningless.
Yeah.
In this one, you are ready to go right out of the box. You're right. And it has a lot of content in it. I got to give it that. They have a 2 versus 2 mode in here. They have sort of like a basic mode, and then an advanced mode, an expert mode with those chaos tiles. There's a lot of content, and it is a really nice production.
There's also a solo solve these puzzle mode thing.
Yes.
Which honestly, I haven't messed with it much, but it's probably the best part, I would imagine. Because this is kind of a boring game. I think that's the biggest problem here. Sometimes people get on me for using the word boring. But this one, there's not a lot of... This is kind of like we both have a knife. And we can't move the knife much like this. So I'm just pointing the knife at you and I move forward. And you're like, well, if I move forward, you'll just stab me. So I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to switch to a different knife that's bigger than yours. I'm like, all right, fine. And that's kind of the way this game felt to me. Like... There's no real reason to go attack. There's no real offensive stuff here. You switch to get ready to attack, and so your opponent's like, I can counter that or do something else, and it just felt dull.
Except for one rule in the game, I agree with you. I like the idea that you can get points by just making, like, there being 4 water or whatever on the board, and you get that one sort of impermanent point. But I agree with you. The game reads and seems like it's going to be a much more interesting and engaging game with you can rotate or you can topple end over end. Oh, interesting. A rock, paper, scissors. Everything is, ebbing and flowing. But in practice, it's just flat uninteresting. There's no highs and lows. Like you said, it is very by the numbers. It's a gorgeous production, unfortunately, and it seems like there's an interesting game under the surface, but I'm not finding it.
Yeah, and the advanced game adds, I think, even more chaos and luck to the game, which doesn't make the game better.
I thought that was weird. I thought that was a strange expert mode. Expert takes away from the elegant abstractness of this game. I figured they would want to put that foot forward. But no, they're saying more chaos is the better game, or the expert game. I thought that was a strange move.
Yeah, this one's for me, it's just a 5. Don't really enjoy it very much. I like the way it looks. I like the idea of it, and if it didn't have for those 4 matching symbols, I would give it even a lower score, because then there would be nothing to it.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4. This is not one I'm going to be returning to in any sense. I am also, I think, a bigger... I find rock, paper, scissors to be a bigger detracting thing than for you.
Sure.
You enjoy that mechanism all right?
I often like it.
I really dislike rock, paper, scissors as a mechanism. So, a 4 for me.
Hi, Mikai. Canosa, which... not packaged particularly well. From a cover which is okay at best, to this thing in the back, when you first see that, I almost didn't play the game because of the back cover.
Well, there's nothing congruent about it. You look at the cover and you go, okay, it's some sort of...
siren.
It's a siren, or it kind of looks like a mermaid, I guess. Waving at a ship. The drawing is not particularly engaging. It's very one color. Everything sort of looks... It looks like actually it has sun damage. That's what this box cover looks like to me.
Yeah. And so, well, it shows how to play it. We'll come right back.
All right. In Canosa here, each player represents a siren. So we've got the silver siren here with 2 of their rings, and then the gold siren with 2 of their rings. And they are trying to gain these shipwrecked sailors, attract them over to their island, which is this space right here. And so, if you manage to do that 4 times, get 4 of these sailors off the board, you are going to win. Or if you manage to make your opponent be unable to take a turn, if you trap them, then you also win. And so the game, the way the game works is one player is going to begin. They get a single action, and then from that moment on, every player gets 2. So 1 action, 2 actions, 2, 2, 2, and so on. You are going to be moving these pieces. You can move your own siren in any orthogonal direction. So if I am here, I could move. If I'm here, I could move into any of those 4. Once you've left your island, you can never return to it. And if you are next to a piece, you can drop off one of your rings on it. And now, since the top ring is gold, I control this sailor. Every piece, including the sirens, can only have up to 3 rings on it, so you cannot add a 4th. You can also, by the way, take away a ring. So you could actually remove a ring, the top one, and put it back on your siren if you need to influence someone else. And then the other option is, of course, you can move one of these that you are controlling. The trick being it can only be moved towards the island that you're trying to get them to. So if I want to move this piece and I am gold here, then I have to move it there, or I have to move it there, not farther away from my island. That's an illegal move. And so the players might do something like this. Gold will go first, then silver goes, and they get to move 1 and 2. Then I'll go, and I could move... I'll move 1 and I'll move 2. This continues with the players trying to, again, get their pieces off the board. If I manage to do this, and eventually I can move this piece in here, then it comes off the board. I will return 1 ring to each siren. So if there's a single gold, I get it. 1 gold, 1 silver. Well, we each get those. But if there's 2 of the same color or more, only 1 comes back. And this continues with the players trying to do that, trying to get these pieces to their islands. Once you manage to get 4 off the board, or your opponent cannot make a move, then you win the game.
Again, theming here, whatever. You're competing sirens. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're attracting these shipwrecked sailors with your song. It kind of works. The influence idea with the rings kind of works. And it is a more traditional abstract game than the last one we looked at here.
It's very small, though. So that's the thing you need to come into. This is a small game. I'm like, so how many options I got? Well, not a lot. There's only so many people, and you're going to not be able to stop your opponent from getting a couple in.
Sure.
Unless you play some sort of, he moved, and you're going to get a couple in, then you fight over those last few. And the thing is, I think the concept of the game's interesting.
Yeah.
I like the idea of taking rings off one person, ceding control of that person to you, to then go put them on someone else that's more important. That's interesting, and I think I would like the game if it just had a bit more oomph to it. It feels like it's just shy of the line for me. Like I play it, and then I think in a few years, you're going to have to remind me how it plays.
For me, the cover and this packaging really fights that feeling, because I kind of enjoyed the abstract game in it. In fact, this is not the classic that Vikings used to play, but it feels like it could be.
I agree. This feels like a game that Pirates played back in the day.
Right, exactly. It has that feeling. And I kind of liked this idea of, you can pull the sailors, but a legal move is only towards your port, towards your island, whereas your siren does not have that restriction. The rings, the influence, it represents their song or whatever. I like what's going on in it, but you're right, it's a little flat. There are, I assume, not a lot of moments for this sort of like, aha, I didn't see that coming. The game has the sort of art, the curvature reminds me a little bit of Chinese checkers, where towards the end of the game, there's sort of the game's kind of over, we're just playing it out. It has a little bit of that feeling at the end of the game.
But it's short enough that it's not a problem.
True, but it's not so short that I found it to be a fluffy game, a forgettable game. But boy, is this packaging not doing this thing any favors whatsoever. Components are nice, pretty good, but the packaging is really hurting this one. I like it, though, considerably more than Himiki. This is one I'm going to give a 6 to, actually.
I'm giving you a 6.5 because it's almost there for me. But it just... And I like the concept of it, and I actually like the pieces. Like I said, the box didn't do it for me, but then I'm like, I opened it up, and I was like, oh, wow, this actually looks pretty nice.
They're nice pieces.
These look very classic, putting the rings on stuff. I enjoyed that. It has a good look to it. This might have done better if you had the guy sitting there, with the...
The boring guy kind of cover?
The suit on, like...
Oh, that thing, yeah. This is one I would not... If somebody was like, hey, I really want to try this out, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'm happy to give it a go.
And the speed doesn't hurt the game either. Yeah. So that's Canosa. Taffle King. Now, Taffle King is a game that when I saw this cover, which, by the way, this is from the Meat Show artwork, right? Or no,
No, I don't think so.
Is it not?
It just kind of looks like
it has a style to it.
Yeah, it's not.
I really, really enjoyed the cover to this game.
It is.
And I had never heard of this game, and once I played it and went and looked it up online, I was kind of shocked to find that this is an old game.
A legitimately, like, from the 600s or something kind of game. Like, Vikings did play this.
Yeah, this is from Finland, and it seems that it's a Finnish game from, I think Board Game Geek has it at 400 AD.
Yeah.
But that's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were not alive. Any of us. Anyhow, so in this game, this is a little thematic, too. One person is a king surrounded by soldiers. Everyone else is trying to take him over. Z will tell you more.
There we go. In Taffle King, one player is going to be playing the black pieces, set up on the outside, the attackers, and then the white pieces for the other player would be the defenders with one special piece right here being the king in the center. The black pieces are trying to capture the king by surrounding it with their own pieces orthogonally or up against the edge of the board, and the white pieces are trying to get the king out to safety by one of these four corners, okay? These places are not places the players can enter, as well as the very center, as soon as this moves off of it, cannot be re-entered. And you are going to, on your turn, and it's a black player's turn first, take a piece and move it as far as you want to in a straight line. So, for example, the black piece might move here. And then the white piece is, the white player will do the same thing. The way you eliminate something is by surrounding it with two pieces, having two of your pieces next to it on your move. Whereas the king, it takes complete surrounding, all orthogonal places. Any other piece can just be done by doing that to two. So, for example, if white did this, then the black player could do this, having two pieces around this one, and eliminate that piece. It goes back to the white player now, who perhaps would do something. I'm making bad moves here on purpose, but they're going to do that. And then the black pieces could do this, for example, and eliminate that. Now, the main objective of the white player here really is not to get into a fight as much as it is to get this king out of here and trying to prevent the opponent from fully surrounding them. This is a little bit tougher to fight, because having just two pieces like so is not going to do it. They need to get all four. And the king can also fight. So in a situation like this, the white player could go here, and now having two pieces around this one, including the king, could eliminate that. You do not kill yourself on your own turn. An opponent would have to do that to you. If they did that, then they do eliminate this piece, and the king still needs to have two more. So if they manage to do this, they win. Or if they do it against the board, they also win if they manage to do it like that, with this piece counting as a blocked place. Or if they just do it like this against the edge of the board here, then they also win. Whichever side achieves their victory first, of course, game is immediately over and they have been successful. That's how you play the game.
I really like this game.
This one's very interesting, and it surprises me in a wonderful way how I've never heard of this classic game.
Right.
We've heard of chess and checkers and Go, even. These games that are from other places in the world that we've heard of, that are out there. And not to say that this is not out there. I'm merely pointing at my own ignorance here. But it is such a refreshing and incredible discovery to, in this year, 2024, discover a Viking game. And not just that, but play it and go, this is good. This is like as good as modern games.
I agree. I mean, it does feel like a classic.
Yes.
It feels like an older game. But one of the things that it does that I like abstract games that give you some freedom of movement. Mm-hmm. Every game where you move one space, it's not interesting. These all move like rooks in chess.
Right.
That lets the board can change pretty quickly, and it does something that very few abstract games do. It's asymmetrical.
That's wild.
I mean, you move the same, but the way you play is different.
That is mind-blowing to me. This game is an asymmetric game from a couple thousand years ago.
when we first played it,
Almost, but like it's just mind blowing. I mean, how many abstract games can you think of that are classic games like this, where the two sides played differently? It's really something.
yeah, when we first played, you actually were playing symmetrical in a sense. You were playing the king, and we were both fighting, and suddenly at some point, you moved your king in a way, and both our minds just like clicked at the same time, going, "Oh, that's how the game plays."
Yeah, I was sort of getting into a land war with you,
Like attrition, and we're going back.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm losing this fight. I got way fewer fighters than you. This is not going well. And then, yeah, you're right. That switch came about where I'm like, oh, the game's not to get into a fight with the black pieces here. I need to escape. They are protecting the king so that the king can escape.
Which honestly is really thematic.
It's very
It's really cool. They're like sitting out there dying, like, just go. You lead the people. You need to save the kingdom. Whatever.
Yeah, it has these great moments where you see the plays. Again, I love this in an abstract, especially as you're sort of getting to learn the game, where you see someone make a move and you go, okay, I'm seeing variations here. I'm starting to see if I go there, you could jump in and block me. Ooh, I could throw a person in the way and then you can't stop me, and the king in a 1-2 punch can escape. These moves start to come forth. You start to discover these things. This one is very clever.
Yeah, so for me, this is an 8. I had a lot of fun with it. I also should point out the production of this one is very nice. It manages to look classic, but with some modern things, like with the screen printing on the stuff. But it still has a classic look. You could have this out at a pub, and it would not look out of place.
Yes.
People could go over and play it, and it would feel almost like a pub game. Mm-hmm. And so this is one that doesn't need to be messed with. I don't think, as far as I can tell, that the rules have changed much since the original game. Like, this is not some new addition that I could tell.
I don't
other
think
than
so,
how it
yeah.
looks.
Yeah, I think it's the same stuff. Yeah, and you can look online and you'll find many, many versions of this game, printings, but it's the same game. I'm also giving it an 8. I do have a small quibble with the production, and that is that the pieces, the paint on these wooden pieces is chipping off. We keep
is it?
finding pieces of it everywhere. That's what this all is, actually.
Oh, no.
So I am worried that, especially because they come in a bag, that from just hitting or a lot of play, they're going to chip, but also above and beyond that, they kind of leave a mess behind. So as you play this game, they start to you'll find, pieces of debris like that one, which you cannot
I am
see.
seeing that now.
They're everywhere. So, but I'm still giving it an 8. I would actually be higher if it was a really classy production of this. This one's a good production. It's not what I would call a classy production, but if you've never played the game and you don't want something that looks like an old, archaic, boring game, then this is a good learning one. Because it looks cool. You're like, oh, these are neat little Vikings, and they're fighting. And so, yeah, 8 out of 10 from me. This is quite a shocker.
Taffle King. And there you go, folks. That's 3 abstract strategy games. Good, okay, not so good. But hey, check them out. Don't forget, you can find reviews of all these short little games on our channel, Dice Tower Encore, if you just want to find one at a time. But until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia.
Have fun saving the king from the sirens and dragons. That was pretty bad.